you can't take away from me, right? That cannot be stolen from me by someone else. And the other thing I always said, which there was 3, but I'm giving you 2, is persistence will get you wherever you're wanting to go. Whatever you're wanting to accomplish, it's persistence. So in this, when we fight, we need the courts of heaven on our side in order to get a winning verdict. So if you're in court, right, and you've got 2 parties, only one's going to win, right? Only one's going to truly get the verdict they're after. So we need to know the verdict. When fights come, when the fight comes, we need to know the verdict of the heavenly courts so that you know exactly the outcome of the fight. And I say this because, you want to know why I say it? The enemy can show up and you can start rebuking and binding and loosing and getting no leeway. That's being that shadow boxer that I was talking about Sunday. See, not every fight that rises up is your fight. And if it's not your fight, you have no authority or authorization over that fight. And you go, well, we have authority and authorization. We have authority over the devil. You're right. I'm not saying we don't have authority over the enemy. I'll use that word. But there are things that rise up that you might be in the midst of that wasn't meant for you to have to fight. So we're needing to know from the heavens. Because when we have these fights, have you ever been in something and it's really about someone else, and you're doing all this loosing and binding and rebuking, and it's like you're getting nowhere. I know we've been there before, and it's like you're making no headway. Okay, that's the word, headway. You're not getting very far, if anywhere. But what you can get is tired out and just wore out, and you just need somebody to raise those arms up, right? But what we need to make sure when that fight comes, we need to know from the heavens, because we have the ability and the knowledge to fight, right? We're the army of God. So we have the ability. I mean, it's in there, right? It's like instinct. The thing of it is not everything is for us to fight. It's not ours. It's somebody else's. And it's meant for them to fight, not for us. Now, that I'm not saying, don't twist it and don't think I'm saying that, will you turn me down just a smidge? Or someone. I'm not saying we're not interceding and praying for someone else. That's not what I'm talking about. Okay? But there's just some things that, we want to go at full force when it wasn't designed for us to do that. We got out of our lane. Is that a way to say it? So it's like that shadow boxer, because we know what to do, but we're not making headway. That's not for us. Now, the enemy does like it when we do that. Why? Because that's where that distraction is. Because it became a distraction and it got you off focus. And it really wasn't even meant to distract you, but we let you let it distract you. And so you're caught up in this and you took away from this. And this still isn't getting accomplished, right? You know what? Do you follow me? Okay. So if we turn to Daniel 7:10. And this tells us that there are books or scrolls in heaven that must be opened before the court of heaven goes into session. It says, a fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. Thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books were opened. You see that? So you can see here that understanding the books is foundational to court activity, which allows God's kingdom purpose to be done. Let's turn to Psalms 139. I want us to think about these books. Think about what these books are written. 39:12. Did I say that? Just think about the books that are written and what's written in them. It says, are we ready? If that's where I want to go, let me make sure. Hang on a second. I don't think that's where I want to go. I'm about to change my mind. Hang on. Verse 16. Thine eyes did see my substance, yet being imperfect, and in thy book all my members were written, which, are we there? In the continuance were fashioned, when as yet there was none of them. None of them. One of the things God did was that he wrote our destinies and our kingdom purpose down in a book. Each and every one of us has a written book. God saw each one of us. He saw us in our fleshly form in earth before we existed. You know, I knew you before you were in the womb. But not only, we're going to Hebrews 10 after this, but not only oh my goodness. Not only did he see us on earth, he could see our days, the number of them. He saw the activities and in what we would accomplish in our lives. Because he knows the beginning from the end, right? So he knows. But if you really think, he knew us before. He knew us here. He knew what we would do, what we would accomplish. And there it's written in a record of your life, of each one of our lives. It's on record. And all that God has planned for you and for me, the kingdom impact. The kingdom impact He has destined for your life is all there. It's all there. Our battle is to get what is in that book, what has been written about us, manifested here on earth. See, that's part of knowing your purpose. Because when you know your purpose, then you begin to manifest the things from the book. Because that pressing in, that perseverance, you begin to do, right? And you keep doing it because there is an adversary, there is an enemy that wants to block what was written about you. Why? Because you are dangerous. So dangerous. And he knows it. He knows what authority you hold. And he knows how much power that holds. In Hebrews 10, verse 5 through 7. And we can see the book about Jesus and that he came into the earth to fulfill. It says, wherefore when he cometh into the world, he saith, sacrifice and offering thou wouldest not, but a body hast thou prepared me. In burnt offerings and sacrifices for sin, thou hast have no pleasure. Then said I, lo, I come. In the volume of the book it is written of me. To do thy will, O God. You see it? To do thy will. It is written in the book. Now. Therefore, when he came into the world, he said, sacrifice and offering you did not desire, but a body you have prepared for me. And burnt offerings and sacrifices. You see it? For sin you had no pleasure. Then I said, behold, I have come. In the volume of the book. See, that gets me excited. That it is written of me to do your will. This book in heaven, chronicled with kingdom, purpose, that Jesus would fulfill in the earth. You see it? Let's turn to John. Let's see what John's over here doing. John 1:14. We see in John that it says Jesus was made flesh. And the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us. And we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. Is that what it reads? You see, this, right here. Jesus was the Word sent out of heaven to be born flesh. His physical birth made the written Word manifest. Where did it manifest? It manifested in the flesh, in earth. And then, once the birth, he spent 33 and a half years. That's how long he was here, right? 33 and a half years fulfilling what had been written about him. You see it? And I want to leave you with this tonight, because we're coming to a close, but I'm wanting you to think on just those few verses that I gave you, okay? That anything God ordained is first written in a book or a scroll in heaven, and it must be sent out from heaven and birthed into the earth, in the earth realm, before it can become flesh. You and I were birthed very similar. See, before we came into the earth, we had a word written on a scroll. We had a book. It was written about each and every one of you. Everyone's destiny and purpose is different. No two are the same. Our fingerprints are not the same. They may be similar, probably not very close, but they're not the same. Each one of us is uniquely designed. Uniquely designed. But see, that word has to get to earth. We got the scroll. It's been written. And when we were born into the earth. So now we're coming from the womb, right? We're born into the earth. We begin our process of living out our kingdom purpose as it's written in heaven, in our book. That's where these desires come from. It was spoken and written about you. That's where it's coming from. I don't know if this is just in my head or just what this is. The desires were spoken, they were confessed, they were written, they were sealed, they were published, if that's how you want to see it. They are there. And when you are birthed into the earth, you are ready to manifest that, what was written about you. It is your call on your life that God wants to show you the purpose that he has for you, so you don't wonder why. It is real. It's for the kingdom. Every person that comes in your path has a divine appointment. Those sent from God are blessings, either for you or you for them. Then there's those things that the enemy tries to send. You need to know your verdict, what you're dealing with. So you know there's no confusion. You deal with it and it's done. We're moving on. Why? Because you know the verdict and that's what you were supposed to deal with. Some stuff, and you keep moving on. You with me? Now, that's getting me, woohoo! I believe it's so powerful when we break it down just a little bit more to see, and maybe this is why it gets me. Because, people say, well, that was Jesus. You're right, that was Jesus. And it was written about him, and it's in a book, and it was written about me, and it is in a book, and I come through the womb just like he did. Why? Because he came to show us the way. Like literally show us the way. We're delivered the same way. Through the womb wise. Now, he's of the Spirit. The way he was conceived, the conception's different. That's the difference, the conception. Because I'm not saying we're Jesus. What I'm saying is, we have to know the truth. We need to know the word. Because again, The only thing you truly own is the knowledge you know. I can't take it from you. It's yours. And you got knowledge that I don't have. And I have knowledge that you don't have. And throughout the room, it's the same way. And some of us has the same knowledge. And that same, and what's so unique about this is that same knowledge that we have, he does it a different way than I do. Some stuff we do the same way. But it's the same knowledge. But because we're so unique, there's different ways that we might do it. Even if we're side by side doing it, it might be a little bit different, but our end result's the same. And it's accomplished. But I just wanted to take the time tonight to let you see these scriptures possibly in a different light, in a way like you might not have like really looked at it like that before, or you might have. But when I was looking at this, I'm like, man, this is like really big. Like, this is cool. But this is how we became his workmanship in Ephesians. This is what he's talking about. The workmanship. And it says, for we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus, for good works. For a purpose, right? For the kingdom purpose, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them. That's Ephesians. Do you have that up there? Yeah, Ephesians 2:10. But that's what I want to leave you with tonight. And you can do a deeper study if you want to, but we're going to continue with this on. We're going to keep going. Is that okay? On where we're going? Okay. We're going to keep going with it. I want to thank everyone for joining us live. We appreciate you for watching. If you'd like, come join us on Sunday at 10:45 for communion. Have a blessed night.